Welcome, everybody, to Phase 2, Lesson 2, Bowls, Cups, and Bottles. I hope you are enjoying the culture building lessons. I really am enjoying teaching them and sharing with them. I actually had to teach them live at a couple schools, and it's been great with the teachers that are the impact team, the Value Up Impact teams, is spending some time with them and seeing how this stuff really fleshes out. This lesson here is a little bit different with the analogy of the cups, bowls, and bottles. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and recap the value up perspective. Let's talk about that for a minute. We talked about it the last lesson, but let's recap real fast. Imagine a school full of students who see value in themselves. A school where every child walks the halls believing they are a 10. While that's the dream, the reality is different, right? Most students today walk in school already carrying a belief system about themselves, a belief formed largely outside of school, shaped by their families, communities, and personal experiences. Some are worse than others. Educators inherit those belief systems. We don't get to control what students bring into the classroom. We get what we get. Yet we are tasked with reaching and teaching all of them equally. Understanding your classroom, bowls, cups, and bottles. If I took a bucket of water and I poured it out on those three vessels, right? The bowl, the cup, and the bottle, and I tried to distribute the water evenly, obviously we know that at the end of it, the bottle is going to take in less, the cup will take in some, but the bowl will take in most of the water because it has a greater capacity to receive the water. I look at kids like that. I look at schools like that, right? When you walk into a classroom, me, when I'm doing a school as a motivational speaker, you just kind of know that there's going to be cups, bowls, and bottles there, right? There's going to be people that the bowl, who has a greater capacity to take in this information, cups may be distracted. We're going to get into the differences between them, but the bottle will take in less. And so gearing my motivational speech based on that fact is very helpful to me. To teach effectively, we must first understand who is in the room. Bowls. They are students that are open, ready, and eager to grow. They see the possibilities for their future and are motivated to invest in learning. They are fun to teach. Yeah, I love going to places where I feel like the kids are less distracted, with their lives, and when I'm talking, they're 100%, clued in. It's awesome. It's a great feeling to know that someone is listening to you and learning from you, and it brings out the best in us, right? We love doing that. I don't think I'm the only one that enjoys when people, are learning from us. And so bowls are fun, and they're few and far between, but they really are fun to teach. Cups. Students that are willing to engage but are inconsistent. They're motivated some days, distracted, or defeated on others. It's challenging to keep them focused. Yeah, cups are fun too because they have moments of brilliance, right? They have flashes of hunger to learn, and so when they're on, but when they're off, they're off. And so sometimes they get distracted by things at home, or maybe there's drama going on in their social world, and so they're not all the way clued in 100% of the time. So I would say a cup is somebody who's inconsistent. Bottles with the cap off, and I'm going to draw a distinction there because there is a difference. There are students who struggle mightily. They do the bare minimum, often dealing with emotional pain or lack of support. They're very difficult to teach. Yeah, I'd say the bottles with the cap off are kids who will receive some information, but they're not consistent at all. In fact, they're hit or miss, but usually they're miss, and then they get behind and they get defeated, and so they get way behind and they disengage. And so those kids, when they do get information, it's definitely intentional. You have to be more intentional, and it's hard because they're not sitting there in class absorbing the general information. If they're going to get anything, it's going to be probably because it's been spoon fed to them. So I would say bottles with the cap off are very difficult to teach. Bottles with the cap on, they are deeply shut down. Hopeless mental health struggles, emotional trauma may have closed them off entirely. They're almost impossible to teach. Yeah, hopefully we don't run into a lot of these kids, but there are times that, you look at a student, you're like, well, that kid is completely shut down. Like there's nothing that you can really do to get to them. And at that point, you have to ring that bell and go up the chain and, try to get somebody in the mental health profession in your school. However it's set up, every school's set up different, but there's usually a pathway to get those kids some help and get them in front of somebody that can actually maybe do something that's going to, be constructive for them. Traditional roles for teachers. Traditionally, educators focused on delivering content with clarity and passion. While that's still important, today's students often arrive emotionally guarded or disengaged. To truly reach them, teachers must first build relational bridges that expand students' capacity to learn and to grow. Let's talk about the role of a value-up educator. I really believe that great teaching goes beyond delivering content. It involves expanding a student's capacity to believe in themselves and invest in their own learning. While teaching bowls, students who are open and ready, is relatively easy, the true test of educational leadership lies in reaching the cups and bottles, those who are inconsistent, guarded, and shut down. Why this matters more than ever. Today's educators are dealing with unprecedented levels of mental health issues, trauma, family instability, and social pressure among young people. When you were trained to teach, it was assumed your audience wanted to learn. They trained you essentially to teach bowls. A disengaged mind cannot absorb knowledge. Let's go through the practical framework, how to expand student capacity. Number one, don't take their status personally. You didn't create their bowl, cup, or bottle status. A student's disinterest is not a rejection of you personally. Their behavior is a reflection of their internal belief about themselves, not about your teaching ability. Stay calm, stay observant. Behavior is communication. What are they telling you they believe about themselves through their behavior? It's easy to forget sometimes that we are human beings, right? So if someone disrespects us by not listening to us or they're not engaged in what we care about, it's really simple to get upset about that. And I've been there. Like I definitely have been there. And I think that what I have to tell myself is it's really probably not about me. Their behavior is an indication that something's wrong with them. There's something going on in their personal life that makes them not really care right now about what I'm talking about. And so if you can do that, I think it helps you go a long way of maybe even trying to get to the bottom of why they may be where they're at. Number two, prioritize relationship over reaction. The greatest leverage you have is relationship, not reaction. Students are motivated by connection. They remember the teachers who saw them, not just the ones who taught content well. Invest relationally, especially with cups and bottles. Relationship is the bridge over which influence travels. Number three, differentiate your approach based on capacity. Tailor your communication and encouragement based on where students are. To bowls, challenge them, push their thinking, affirm their dreams. To cups, offer consistent encouragement. Remind them that setbacks are not fatal. To bottles, cap off, focus first on building trust. Celebrate small wins. To bottles, cap on, partner with your mental health team. Watch carefully for warning signs. Advocate early. Yeah, again, knowing who's in the room is super important. Me personally, when I'm teaching or doing motivational stuff, I'm cognizant of the fact that there are bowls, cups, and bottles in there, and I try my best to hit each group, right? I have content for bowls, content for cups, and content for bottles. And so I think I'm not going to presume that teaching English or math or science, I don't know how to do any of those things. But maybe in your your subject matter, you can tailor make it for those, 3 groups. Have stuff for bottles, have stuff for cups, and have stuff for bowls. Number 4, watch for warning signs and filter when needed. Some students are not just struggling, they're hurting deeply. Fascination with death, destruction, withdrawal, and aggression are all red flags. Schools must have clear, compassionate protocols for identifying and helping these students immediately. Watch for drastic changes. Your awareness could literally change a life. 10 ways a teacher can expand a student's capacity to want to learn. Let's learn how to expand them. 1, build authentic relationships. Show genuine interest in who they are outside of academics. It's all about connection. 2, affirm their intrinsic value. Remind them they matter regardless of performance or behavior, because they are gold. Number 3, give them a voice. Let students contribute ideas, opinions, and choices in class. They will get behind something they feel they have a voice in creating. Agency is important. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Acknowledge small wins and growth, not just high achievement. Level the playing field for them. Number 5, connect learning to real life. Show how what they're learning relates to their interests and future. Relevancy. Number 6, be consistent and emotionally safe. Predictable, non-reactive teachers build trust and stability. Be that steady voice. Number 7, encourage peer affirmation. Create opportunities for students to lift each other up. Reverse the peer pressure. Number 8, teach through stories and relevance. Emotional connection to material helps it stick. Be the bridge. Number 9, reframe failure as feedback. Help them see mistakes as part of learning, not personal flaws. Failure is never fatal. And number 10, model passion and purpose. Your enthusiasm for teaching and belief in their potential is contagious. Energy is addictive. In conclusion, every student deserves a chance to become a bowl. You won't reach every student overnight, but you can create an environment where every student is seen, valued, and invited to expand their belief about themselves. Good educators teach subjects. Great educators expand the desire to grow. Wouldn't it be nice if every student walked into your classroom as a bowl, right? They're just willing to learn, no drama, just there to take in what you're saying and, learn from you. That would be great, right? But today's day, we've got kids walking into your classroom all kind of messed up. That has nothing to do with you, but you're, tasked to try to deal with that and to, teach those students. And so I hope this framework helped you realize that the power is in getting them to expand, right? And you do that through relationship. And so some of those practical things are there. The next lesson, we go a little bit more into your authority, your position, how to do that, how to build relationships with them to get them to expand. So fill out the survey and we will see you on the next course. All right, see you soon.